Hello and welcome to the bottom of it with your host Joshua Moriarty.
Hello, welcome back to the bottom of it with me, your host Joshua Moriarty. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being here. What's been happening? Back in Melbourne, same as last episode. Still here, playing shows with All the Colours in Miami Horror, blasting that lead bass in All the Colours, that is. I play it's funny having been a guitar player all my life and then in All the Colours for the last 3 or 4 years, switching to the 4-string bass. And at first, it was huge, and now it feels normal. And when I go back to playing guitar, that feels like this tiny little silly thing. I don't know what to believe. It's like everything's been turned on its head. So now, am I a lead bass player? Am I still a guitar player? I don't know. I kind of miss the guitar, but it's been fun to learn a new instrument. We'll see. But it's funny going between having an All the Colours gig on a Friday and a Miami Horror gig on a Saturday, doing completely different styles and going from playing bass to playing funky guitar. But hey, that's what it's all about, being a musician, seeing what you can do, challenging yourself, keep moving, keep developing, all that. Hey, today's episode is with one of my favorite people in this world. It's my bandmate and great buddy, Josh Mann from All the Colours. Now he's a special guy. He's a special man. He is the J-Man. Now I was always J-Man, all my friends growing up, J-Man. But then when I met Josh, he's actually Josh Mann. I lost my nickname, so now he's J-Man. He is the J-Man. Him and I became friends when his old band, The Impossible Cinema, and my first band, 1QA, met in Melbourne. I think it was at the Art House one night on MySpace. I think he messaged me, he'd heard us, and said, like what you guys do, come check us out. So I wandered down the road to watch them. There was only a handful of people in the crowd, but they were excellent. I loved his guitar playing, loved his voice. And we hung out that night, we got drunk, we got stoned, we talked music, and yeah, became friends. So we hung out a bit here and there, you know, would meet up for a few things over the years, but it wasn't until about 2012 that I invited him to come and have a jam with Jono, who's in All the Colours, and Joe, who's in All the Colours as well. And we had a rehearsal room. We invited Josh along. He turned up, and that was it. It was kind of we've got the guys now. Josh is the perfect fit. So we've been doing that since 2012. Like I've said before, I'm a huge fan of his voice and his songwriting on All the Colours albums. His songs are my favorite usually, because I guess it's get to be a fan of somebody else's music and produce it and try and shape them and turn them into something that I think is cool, but I don't have to worry about my own lyrics not being up to par or my own voice being shitty. I sort of get to be a fan in my own band. There's a songs Fragile and Bad of Volume 1, the first All the Colours album, and the songs Faces and the only one of Volume 2. There's some of my favorite All the Colours tunes. He's also a shit-hot guitar player. He has that ability to sort of get freaky in all the right ways and play all the wrong notes. It's what I love in a guitar player, someone who can break those rules and just make it sing. If you've seen him live, you'll know he's a serious shredder up and down the neck all the time. So yeah, today's just a casual chat with Josh. It's kind of like being in the back of the van listening to us on tour, all sorts of drivel and nonsense and ramble. We talk about Tommy Emmanuel versus Jimi Hendrix, the devil's music, flirting with radicalism, how much Josh hates the acoustic guitar. He sort of has rubbed off on me a little bit, I think, actually. How he loves having an audience, religion, his need to make music, why he does it, all sorts of things. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Mann. Enjoy. Did you listen to U2 featuring B.B. King?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It's been a while since I've actually listened to B.B. King, and he's a singer.
It's not about his guitar playing.
No, not at all. He's got that thing strapped onto him because it's better than looking at his fat bust. It's a shiny fucking Gibson that he gives the name Lucille, so you can get your attention drawn away from the fact that...
Does he name the guitar?
Did you not know that?
No.
That's like the most famous thing about B.B. King. Not his guitar playing, the fact that he names his guitars. I think they're all Lucille.
So
something
guitar,
like that.
when he plays guitar, it's Lucille. It's not that one particular.
No, it's
guitar.
that 3-3-5 thing that he plays or whatever it is. I don't know those models.
How do you
very well.
know? But did you Wikipedia
This was
this?
years and years ago. I don't think Wikipedia was even around. This was just.
So
like,
this was
you
just
know,
hearsay through guitar
This
teachers.
is back when you used to sit on Tambark with other kids in school and talk about Tommy Emmanuel versus Jimi Hendrix.
Who and what's the outcome of that battle?
None of us had really explored Jimi Hendrix's back catalogue enough.
Okay.
But all of us, because of our cheesy dads, were just overexposed to Tommy Emmanuel, which was also more modern. When you're really young, you can get tricked into thinking that something bad sounds good and something good sounds bad. Like a lo-fi recording, like a live recording of Jimi Hendrix, like sounds amazing to me now because you can just hear the musicians. Mm-hmm. But the cheesy, I don't know, over-accomplished musician production from Tommy Emmanuel.
Do you think it's just
like
because
he's not thinking about it?
Is it just because that's what you were hearing more and more of on the radio growing up, and it was all shiny, so you're just used to it, and you think that that's the way it is?
I feel like there's an inherent ability, critical thinking ability within people to be able to go, I know what's shiny and clean, and I know what's not. And regardless of thinking of the impact emotionally or what good music is, you go, that's good music. That's bad because of it sounds cleaner. Mm-hmm. So you just assume there's more people behind it and it's a more successful thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
At my chiropractor, when I'm in the waiting room, they're always playing pretty dodgy music.
Yeah.
But the last time I was there, they were playing Michael Bublé, and I noticed a lot of auto-tune on his voice.
Yeah.
Which to me seems crazy, because you know that someone like Michael Bublé can obviously sing very, very well. I've seen video live things of him.
Yeah,
he's got a classic tone.
Not dodgy live at all.
No, he's not a dodgy singer at all. And the thing about all those crooners was their charm was in their entire, bits they got wrong. Not that they really ever sounded wrong, but
yeah.
And it just sort of disgusted me. It's like, this is what. Why are we doing this?
I think we need to drop the comparison with Bublé and anything that's gone before.
Yes,
because he's like the third McFadden brother or something like that. Or I got that guy's name right.
Which one's McFadden? No, Brian McFadden.
I'm thinking of the wrong name. They've all been on those shows. That's why. The Voice and X Factor and
Brian McFadden was the one who was poking Delta Goodrum
yeah.
for a little
Not
while.
him. Nah, the
before the cancer.
Are they two Canadian punk boys?
Madden.
Yes. Oh, I'm not McFadden.
No, don't get your Madden and your McFadden.
McFadden and Madden had a gay offspring.
The two
McMadden.
But what's Bublé got to do with the Madden brothers?
There's something about him that reminds me of them, and something about them that reminds me of him.
Shiny and clean and modern and made for mums?
Yeah, like
made for mainstream market?
Yeah, pulled out of a clay jar for some commercial venture. How did Bublé start? Was he just poked his nose out just ahead of Jamie Callum, and now Jamie Callum's dead? And
It's funny like that. Yeah, there's sort of, it seems like that's always the case. There's a movement of a whole bunch of things, and then one person finally becomes the one. They're all scrambling around for it.
Yeah.
Like there was Duffy, and there was Adele, and then I guess there was Amy Winehouse, but that's sort of slightly different. But there was a lot of those solely ones, and then Adele just won, just becomes the winner.
Yeah.
Takes the crown, and then that's it. Defines the sound.
I only ever listened to one Duffy record, and it had the least amount of depth I've heard in. It's probably one of the worst records I've heard, like as far as a record goes, but it had a really, really, really good first song.
That's a great trick, the old make sure you've got a really good first song.
Yeah, you get 3 or 4 songs deep every single time just because of that song.
Waiting around for
another one to come out.
Another one to come.
It just doesn't.
The new thing that I notice is always track 2 is sort of the first single off the record. That's the smash one usually. That's what I've been noticing.
Okay.
I mean, that new Presets album, this big song off, it's that Do What You Want, Do What You Want. Have you heard that song? That's track 2.
Yeah.
And I've done on a lot of albums. The first one's sort of something cool and good, but get you kind of excited, and 2, they hit you with the smash.
Yeah.
Was that
I normally find structural facts like that interesting, but when it comes to music, it just pisses me off for some reason.
There's always trends, though, right?
Yeah, just slip into a pattern.
Yeah. I think that's just been a trend for the last few years.
Yeah.
And it will by no means last. I guess it would have been the same, though, so the trend when it was records, right? You would have had 8 songs probably on a vinyl.
But we're just softening it by using the word trend, when really if you examine the word trend in the music industry, it's kind of like the sun and the moon. It's just shit's revolving around trend, not it just being a little side note.
Yes, that's true.
It's just trend.
Any other ones you've noticed in the music biz recently? What's your favourite current one?
But what I am waiting for, and this is just a weird random one, is the impact of those shows like X Factor, etc., on length of pop songs. Because they only sing their bits for a minute and a half, and Elvis used to do 2-minute songs. I'm just waiting for that to come back, like so that you have just this fucking smack in the face pop thing, and that everyone's just shortening their songs. Why the fuck does it have to go for 3.5 minutes?
Well, we were writing a song with us, our new song the other day, the All the Colours one.
Yeah.
And then we've now tagged another chorus on the end. But the week before, we just cut it and ended it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you...
Case-by-case basis?
But
now
if
2
you
choruses
open the door for case-by-case basis, I feel like this is a machine where case-by-case basis doesn't really fly anyway. Like, as you just be like, there has been, and there's, I don't know if it's still a pressure now, like to do under 3.5 minutes. Like you could feel it. What I'm talking about is exactly the same thing, but down to 1.5 minutes, where you have this, like, compunction, if that's a word?
Sure.
To
Compulsion?
compulsion to make yourself fit your shit in under that time, rather than just going, oh yeah, it feels like it should do this now.
How Elvis and the songs were so structured so differently, though, weren't they? They weren't verse, chorus in any sort of way.
Forms and shit that were, I guess, like R&B, like blues things, where they've got they go from those rigid structures that aren't necessarily always adhered to through the classical era, but still using the same language to communicate the music of what they're doing. So that sort of looks like it's structured. But at the same time, I kind of feel like listening to it, they were kind of just doing the same thing we do.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of playing a bit and then you find a bit that goes with it.
And then I guess in the classical world, it was...
just took longer and way more
But
complex.
they were longer and way more complex, but what would be a whole sort of suite or whatever, or the 3 parts of the movement, would be the equivalent of the album.
Yeah.
But it would be an album divided into 3 parts.
Yeah.
That you could only hear if you were rich and you paid to go and see it at the theatre. Right.
I don't know about
Did poor
that.
people get to hear music then?
Yeah.
But
there's been series of either cultural or political movements that have allowed the commoners in on music. And there's always been a slight change or revolution of music that's come about from that kind of thing, where they, like, what was the shit? I think I'm thinking of that. There's a period in history where everyone went hysterical dancing, and it swept through Europe. It literally sounds like a disease. You read about it, and people were dancing for so long without eating and drinking. They were passing out in the streets, so there's lots of people passing out in the street from dancing.
But to what music you don't...
This was a particular period, so it was a particular type of music they were dancing to.
But folky, jiggy sort of music?
I think that was...
It would have to be, right?
the post-turn of the century, so that was like during the Depression or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be to classical, because you don't dance to classical.
Could be like a folk classical-y
Yeah,
jig.
but still sort of
not like a
jaunty,
bunch of people doing foxtrot.
But what about, so who was the guy that did the tritone in classical music first when you weren't really allowed to do it? That did the demonic sound and the audience went mental and started ripping up the place. So the story goes.
I don't know who the first person to do that.
Have you heard that story?
Yeah. Well, so I know about them referring to flat 5 as the devil's note.
Yeah.
And
someone
that
did
it wasn't allowed in. Well, it's not so much that it wasn't allowed in. The musicians were so technically in the employ of the church that they weren't second guessing it. They were accomplices to that myth that the flat 5 was something demonic because they didn't want to use it. I can't remember who started using it. I don't know.
Someone
names.
badass.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because that dissonant sound is still in, without it being a flat 5 necessarily, is still in there as a flat 5 between the intervals of another 2 notes. So you still hear that sound.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the different version
you can
of
have like a modular flat 5 being heard with a different tonal center, but you're still hearing an interval of a flat 5.
Yeah. So your ears have heard it.
Yeah.
It's just not the sort of new metal.
So yeah, but maybe I don't know how insane that law was. Like, because maybe it was specific, where it's like you're allowed to do flat 5 intervals. It just had to have a tonal center present that made it not the flat 5 from the tonic.
Yeah, but then so that was the devil's music. And then it was probably okay. There's always been a devil's music, though, right?
Interestingly,
rock and roll was then.
The devil's music has always been quickly absorbed by religious institutions.
Really?
Yes.
Give me a little more. What do you wait?
Well, anyone you can assume it without knowing cases, because anyone who started using flat 5, it was looked down upon for the first 50 years.
Yeah.
But then historically. The church was still paying for music that had flat 5s in it after that was gotten over.
They get on board of everything. So then you
have gospel music, which would have been like white Christian kind of communities. The type of energy or place that comes from would have been at one stage viewed as pagan worship. Mm-hmm. And now it's now viewed as like a traditional form of worship, and now they've got churches of rock and roll.
Yeah, I don't hear them doing
trap.
Well, they will. They will, though. Eh? They will.
I think we probably just don't have our finger on the pulse. They're probably doing it already.
I went to a church service, one of those. It was affiliated with Hillsong, about a couple of years ago. And they've had all the sort of modern sounding house, Triple J, electronic, new artist sort of. Yeah. Chet Fakery, I don't know. I keep picking on him. I always mention his name on this podcast. It's not even that. It's like, the band Rufus? Yeah. That sort of like soft electronic.
That makes sense. There has to have a certain element of little bit, like what we would call emo in our pocket of music. Like if we were to do it with our instruments at our volume of our intensity, it would be emo music, right?
Yeah. With guitars, with guitars, it ends up being emo. Yeah. But then it's sort of now it's transitioned into the soft dance.
Yeah, the Church of Ableton.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Exactly. And they've very much embraced it. But that made sense to me because there's nothing sort of demonic sounding or nasty about it. But
you won't find as much as I'd love to hear it, like the kind of stuff that really gets me like deep into a state where I'm like happy with music is sort of seems further below that level of sort of weird cheesiness that you'll get with worship music or religious music.
Mm-hmm. What was when you played in the church, what it was with the sort of Coldplay sounding stuff?
Yeah, that's probably a really good.
But that was the time as well, though, wasn't it? How long ago was that? 10 years ago?
Yeah, it's like
15 years ago, maybe.
2000 to 2004.
Yeah, straight out, sort of at the end of high school and then
Yeah.
after high school for
Yeah.
a few years.
Yeah.
I guess that was the beginning of, I feel like that's the beginning of that stuff, wasn't it? Of the sort of Christian rock, Coldplay, like you said, Eskimo Joe sounding.
Yeah, there was
Delayed guitars.
maybe there wasn't that much then that was well known, but it fairly quickly shifted.
Whose songs were you playing?
There's towards the end, Joel Houston was the songwriter for the youth side of Hillsong,
That's the main guy of Hillsong?
the son of the main
Oh,
guy.
the son.
Yeah.
Has he gone on to become a smack addict or anything weird like
Don't
that?
know.
Beating up chicks?
Don't
or...
know. I hope not, because
They usually do. Very common.
I mean, it would suggest there's certain suspicions about Brian Houston, the dad, and I can't remember the mum's name, that were
I
true.
can't remember what her name
Just
is
trying to
now.
picture what that house would be like what it would be like living there as Joel. Then you can't. If he went on to be a smacky, it would confirm some suspicions
We'll have to look this
that
up.
I'm making up, that I have no basis on other than just listening to the guy talk.
Joel talk.
Nah, Brian, the dad.
Brian.
Yeah, just
They are quite charismatic, him and his wife.
very-
I mean, obviously, because
Yeah.
they've turned that into the most ginormous empire. Kind of scary. But when I sort of wanted to believe him, but I don't trust him at all.
yeah. It's a weird one because that little hook of the want to believe him that's the appeal of radicalism. And that's exactly what it is. It's because nothing else is absolute. For you to toe the line on anything else, you'll have to accept other truths that aren't part of what it is that you're following. So that's not radical, but it's not satisfying.
Okay.
So if you want to be satisfied, you have to be radicalized. But to be radicalized, you have to completely fuck your brain and go, start wearing.
Yeah, I'm not capable of
hats
being
and-
radicalized.
Yeah.
I don't think. I never have been.
I love flirting.
never
with
will
it.
be.
I love flirting with it.
Flirting with being radicalized. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
but then even to say that
Or
means
radical concepts.
Yeah, but you're not letting it overtake you completely because
No,
you're aware of the
no.
fact that you can flirt with it.
Yeah.
Someone who has awareness of that, it can't happen. You have to not even know, and then you just go all in.
Yeah. But then once you've done it once with one thing, it will become pretty clear to most people, I feel, that you could just turn a switch and do it for anything.
Yeah,
Like you could get into politics, you could get into environmentalism, and just choose the life that you want to live. Because that's how I feel about what I went through with the church. Was that I feel like at any point, it's only going to be activated when shit's really low. I feel, but
They prey on the weak. Is that what you mean?
no. Your ability to change is only you can only change when you're like broken, or be remolded when you're broken.
That's
that
what I
kind
mean.
of
So
vibe.
when you're down and out, that's when
When it works the best.
the message makes the most sense
But they're
to you, 'cause
hammering
it's offering.
this shit consistently. They're not
Yeah.
watching for when you're down.
No,
really.
but I guess it's the promise of redemption.
Yeah.
and a way that will help you and rebuild you. I mean, in that respect, the church, I think there's something like, when you just go back to Jesus or whatever, it is really beautiful and nice of the story of redemption and things that it can do for you.
Yeah.
I guess that's sort of at the core of all of it, is there's something beautiful and honest, but then it's just so shrouded in.
I feel like it's just a matter of respect. Like the only thing that's lingering here with me is respect. Because I think about like what that journey or that little part of my life meant to me, and it's shown me stuff that you just wouldn't see anywhere else. And
Give me an example.
the Sermon on the Mount.
Which one's that again?
That's where
He's just got his mates up there.
he's basically there's the Beatitudes
so much
or
of them,
whatever they're called.
Beatitudes,
Blessed
yes,
are the
yeah.
poor, that they'll inherit
The earth. Yes.
Can't remember the rest of that.
No, I can't remember either.
But the Oh, the peacemakers own the kingdom of heaven, I think.
Okay.
I think that's another one. But the ability for those words, the way they've been translated or whatever it is through the years, to still have this incredible merit, which not many in the church seem to have picked up on, which is just, to me, is just like that basic rule of symptoms on the surface, cause below the surface. That the reality in the universe, that things seem to be standing on something else, whether they're conceptual or as to the way things are done physically. Like, there's the observation of a planet going around a star, and that's the picture that you see. And then there's like the math formula that explains it, and that's another level. And that formula can be adjusted for different things, so it's the thing that it stands on. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
So I'm like seeing what Jesus is saying as just showing people, if you look deeper and fuck with that, all of this stuff can change.
Okay.
If you feel shit about this, do something about that.
Sounds so simple.
Yeah. He says it very simply when you read it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And when you watch those, I remember watching those, like, you know, interpretation of the life of Jesus films. I haven't seen The Passion of the Christ, actually. The Mel Gibson one.
Yeah, I watched it once, sort of.
Does he come across as a...
I can't really remember, to be honest. We had it on in the background at the party.
There's some movies where they interpret what Jesus would be like as different.
I can't remember what Mel Gibson's Jesus was like. Angry black Mel, maybe?
Suffering, kind of, because it was... I haven't seen it, though, so...
Does Mel still have an Australian accent at all? It doesn't seem like he does anymore.
I think it's for those little quirky little words every now and then.
You sort of get a pass
Like
as
the
an
Nicole
actor.
Kidman one.
Yeah. If you lose your accent as an actor, it's okay because you're having to put on another accent all of the time.
Yeah.
But if you just go to somewhere for a couple of years, come on, mate.
I think there's just a personality thing there. There's two types
People
of people
who are susceptible and want to change.
Yeah, there's someone who with subconsciously isn't aware of it really, or can't affect it in real time, mimics what's around them.
Yep.
Candace is like that.
Right.
It's very interesting because you think she's doing it deliberately, and then you put her amongst another group of people, and you just watch her change. Like, I'm talking Canadian accent, British accent, and it'll just slight little things after hanging out with them just for a night, and she'll say the same turns of phrases as each one's will.
Wow.
Which, on the surface, you could kind of like attack someone on that and go like, that's stupid.
I've said that so many times, but I've started to realise it just happens. Some people don't even mean it to do it.
There's some because
they're just mimicking something without it.
It took I think maybe about 4 years or so for Ben to start having weird things in his accent.
Your brother
over in England.
Yeah.
If those first 3 years we were kind of like, yeah, this will slowly happen with him, and that's just like that acclimatization type thing with the way you speak to be understood.
Yeah, but that the speak to be understood thing's only ever...
It's a muscle memory type thing. You
It's
keep
just
saying it the way other people say it.
Yeah, and it's just sort of using the terminology that they use in another place more so than having to change the complete way you speak.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if
Just
you're
to
in
be
America,
understood.
just say, I'll have no tomato, please.
Yeah.
But you still don't sound like tomato or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's fine.
For some reason, I always think of, when talking about accents, I always think of Elle Macpherson. I think she has one of the most... You remember Elle Macpherson?
Of course.
The
Body.
The Body, yeah.
Did she come up with that?
The name The Body.
Imagine being called The Body.
I feel like a man came up with that.
Yeah, maybe. I'd be happy with that, though.
Yeah.
What would you be? The
Menace?
Because John Farnham's the voice.
Yeah, the Menace, I'd say.
The Menace?
Yeah.
You were the joke, not what were you in the Love Like This film clip? What did we get called? You were called for that?
Jester.
the jester.
Yeah.
You're jestery, but you'd rather be menace. Sounds more badass.
Oh,
but you're jocular.
I think I just see them as the same sort of thing. My particular type of humour is more aggressive and less accomplished than other people's types of humour.
How does that affect your music? Does that go into your writing of music, or does that humour, that dark?
Yeah, not go into it, but allows parts of me to be expressed that I don't like in music. So normal behaviour's allowed to behave the way that I would. I'm happy Josh.
Yeah.
Get into a state, into a mood, write a song. Sweet.
But
if I can't be expressive of myself in a particular way of life, it'll have this knock-on effect to where maybe it'll come out in the music or something too much, and then I'll, like, the next day go, I fucking hate that. Like the concept of people who are accomplished musicians writing a song for fun, like a joke song, something I regularly try to do.
You do try to do that?
Try to do it. Stress try and never succeed. Because I can't... There's a difficulty finishing projects anyway, but those ones I can't stay connected to. It's not because I've been blocked by something or confused as what to go next or anything. It's like...
But that's interesting, I guess.
State I'm in when I do it.
In general, with writing of songs, is that you do write them in a particular feeling or moment or time in your life, and then you're always... Not always, but you're always going to sort of disconnect from it.
Come out of it, yeah.
Yeah. And then so... Does that mean that everything you've ever done, you sort of... I guess some of them maybe intrinsically like capture more of like a real human spirit, so you can always relate to it or relate to the person that you were then, or it's a struggle that you're continually going through as a human being.
Maybe. I feel like it goes hand in hand with that your own favourite musician thing. I don't think it's necessarily... there's greater moments in a musical piece that'll last a little bit longer past the disconnect moment. There's always the disconnect moment, but consistently over 20 years, you have the ability to look back and go, oh, it's the same pieces of music that I'm not bothered by the next day.
Yeah.
That I was really obsessed with the night I was writing them. So I know, like, as in it's that thing where it's just like, oh yeah, that's something I like.
Yes.
As opposed to just, that was shit. I was in a state, felt like I was doing something at the time, and then go back to it the next day and go, I'm not into it.
Usually for me, it's not the next day. It takes a few weeks, sometimes a month. I'll sort of have to express the emotion, get it out through a piece of music or a song, exactly. Yeah. And then... the next day I'm still pretty kind of into it or whatever. Or I don't think about it too much and just let it exist.
Yeah.
And then you sort of critique it more over the coming weeks, months, until finally you go, oh, yeah, no, that one's not going to make it.
I think you're far more disciplined in terms of the way you go about doing things and demoing things. And I'm like a little bit more open to a thought experiment potentially.
You are?
With my own stuff at least.
Yeah.
Where it sort of just gets churned over and over and over and over and over in my head before ever getting put on a template.
But what do you churn in your head, though? You're writing it at work in your brain?
No, not like that. Not like that. Maybe about a year and a half ago, it was something that I decided to try to make myself do because of, instead of trying to get... Discipline seems to me to be a mastery of many fields. Whereas this was one thing that I could concentrate on, and that'd just be... Fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
A year and a half ago, you were going to...
Oh yeah, I just I found myself going to the template too early at different stages, but always just trying to get...
What do you mean going to the template?
When I say going to the template, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm meaning turning on Pro Tools and turning the computer on and
going to
actually record it.
Yeah.
Rather than... Because that's what I did. I found a lot of enjoyment in recording and I think I convinced myself that that's something that I wanted to do, was like be a recording engineer or something like that. But it was the bleed out of the songwriting process. So what I've done is just tried to just separate or distance the songwriting process with the recording process.
So you spend longer now writing the song before you go and record it.
Writing is fucking sort of. Yeah. Yep. The way I write a song. Yes. It's literally just playing it over and over and over again.
When, because we hang out and then you disappear. I don't know what you do when I'm not with you.
There's work.
There's a lot of work.
Video games.
Yeah.
There's sex at weird hours.
Of course. Good. That's the way that sex should be.
Yeah.
I agree. It should be whenever. It's great like that. So where does the music fit in with all of that?
Every day after work.
On the guitar?
It's not as much as I should, but that's just because of the electrical thing. I hate the acoustic guitar. I only go to it.
Is there no acoustic that you like?
Like, as in
as a
version,
nylon,
or...
a small one?
Nylon's okay. Like, as in, but then
you just don't like the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it's just
you haven't really ever.
No.
Well,
it's a tool
we've talked
to me.
About it,
it's a tool to me. I do like I think of that drop tuning kind of sound on the acoustic guitar. That's the only thing. 50% of the time when I'm playing acoustic guitar, it's below C.
Right.
and on my cheap $200 Ashton thing that's sitting around the home,
does it sound okay?
Not that great. But I do write a little bit with that changed register sound that piques my interest enough to make me go, but certainly not like the piano. The piano's...
So that's been your main tool for writing?
Yeah, like I'd just come home from work and sit down on the piano. The only time where I wouldn't is if I couldn't eat lunch because it was busy at work and I was hypoglycemic or something.
Yeah.
Wanted to eat.
And so that's been a consistent for what? For years? A few years now you've been playing the piano?
About a year and a half, and then there was a gap of about 4 months where I couldn't play it at all because it was in storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are these piano songs? I know we've been talking about
There's about 5 or 6 that are fairly there.
You haven't recorded them?
No, one of them got demoed ages ago, and that's sort of what got me excited about it.
Yeah.
Or 2 of them got demoed. But one of them was really a demo. But the other one I tried to build a bit more.
Do you churn them over at work and things though? Because I find that I just can't.
I'm a racehorse with blinkers on. I can't do 2 things at once. I can't even think. I don't feel like I'm actually present if I'm thinking about something else. And you see it, I'm not. If I start thinking about something else, everyone's turning over 2 pages at once, and then I come back to the book and I'm like, what just happened?
I understand.
Yeah. It's something that, I don't know, I feel like I'm only getting aware of this now so that I can be like, okay, if I'm going to be doing this with you guys, I need this time. If I'm going to be doing this for me, I need this time.
Yeah.
Even with video games. I haven't had a good 3-hour open window for a week and a half to play the video game. So I haven't played it at all. Because I don't want to play it for half an hour. I want to play it for 3 hours. I want to be in it.
But you can play the piano for half an hour.
That regularly happens because of the time of day that I choose to play it.
Yeah.
Because you've got
Do you do the late night sort of noodling around music?
Yeah.
Stoned?
The last 1 year, I had the piano this was my bed and the piano was there. And at the start of the year, I was like, can we move the piano into the bedroom? And Candace was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, so let's really just nut out the rules.
Yeah.
Because if this is here, if you're saying yes to this, there might be a moment where I just can't, I can't not write what's inside my head. There's been maybe only 2 occasions where I have actually exercised that right. But it was awesome. because I didn't have to think. I just got out of bed. There was someone that had to get up in 4 hours for work, but I'd already had approval to start noodling. But at my age now, it all seems to just, the head leads the body. So
Give me a little more.
When I was 20, 22, I'd write at 2 a.m. Now I write songs in prime time, between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Because for the last year and a half, 2 years, I've come home from work and jumped on the piano. Before those 2 years, I didn't have the piano. Mm-hmm. So electric guitar when I was really young, because I had the amp there and everything like that, because you had the energy to...
Yeah, but so say you could arrange your perfect life and you don't have to work and things. Would you write way more on the guitar than if you could have it blisteringly loud and set up all of the time?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. This is something that
So
I'm only writing riffs when you're not playing or Jono's not playing, but I'm in the jam room. So if I come around, like if I was like half an hour early.
You can't write a riff on the acoustic guitar.
I could.
But you don't.
Why would I?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'd more be playing like something that sounded like a Radiohead.
So whatever the instrument is for you completely dictates what style you sort of write it.
Yeah, the timbre of the instrument. Yeah. So your piano.
Yes.
Can't write the songs that I wrote on this piano on there. Go to play them, and I'm like, I'm getting smacked by something a little bit too abrasive.
Yeah, piano is this. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mean to pick on your piano.
No, not at all. I notice it's abrasive when I listen to my iPhone recordings of it, but that's the fucking...
So my piano is like Jimi Hendrix. Yours is like Tommy Emmanuel.
You bastard.
No, the instrument is, not the players. The instrument.
Yeah.
You know.
Shinier and fresh. Yeah, well, all I had when I was in LA, really...
That little whirly.
I hate that whirly. I didn't write one song on it ever.
Why did you hate it?
Despise it.
Why?
Because it's a piece of shit.
That's how I feel about acoustic guitars.
Then I understand exactly what you mean.
It's there.
Nothing.
It's a tool.
But I would never use it.
Yeah.
Hated that whirly.
Something disturbing about the weighting on a whirly.
Just the sound is just not. It's all right if you're doing soft rock, and it's not the main instrument, or maybe it needs to be compressed and phased or something.
Still only pick it maybe 1 out of 5 times where you went for a tremolo guitar over it anyway, in the soft rock example, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would play the piano. We'll have an E piano, it's an electric piano, and I put that in the spare room, and I use that more than the whirly. But even then, I'd hardly use that. So I just didn't write, and now that I'm back here in Melbourne and I've got the piano here, I'm straight back onto it.
Yeah.
And feeling really good about it, and already have sort of written 2 or 3 new kind of song-y ideas, things in the last few weeks. Maybe because of my piano reserves have been building up.
Yeah.
And now I'm using
or how you relate to the timbre of that particular one, or the instrument of the piano itself.
Yeah, I think it's that piano in this house, and how I feel here, and having certain time off here, so I go and do it while my sister's out, not at home or whatever else, sort of.
Yeah.
But even just waiting for you. I find I write a lot while waiting around.
Yeah.
That's like when I used to call the taxi and it was going to be 20 minutes. I just sit at the piano for 20 minutes while I was waiting for the cab to come. Or while I'm boiling the jug, because it's in the living room, I'll play the piano then. Or if you said, I'll be over in half an hour or something.
I've tried to position my piano in a similar way in the new house.
They need to be somewhere where it's part of the action. You don't want to have to...
Yeah.
And that I feel like that, with music in general, is a really good... If you were to have children, and you wanted them to play music, put the piano in the living room, have a guitar laying around, and then they can just do it without making it like regimented in any way.
Yeah, that's something that I actually have a conversation with people at work about. it's always to the parents. Sometimes the kid is around. Sometimes the kid is listening. Some like participating in the conversation. Sometimes they're just running around doing other stuff because they're really young. Mm-hmm. But the mum's like, yeah, I want to get them, playing piano. He's been doing a few lessons here and there, and the teacher said that he should get a keyboard.
Yeah.
I take too much joy in being contrary to whatever's going on at the moment. That going in hand with a strong opinion particularly about the piano and music, I always just shut them down straight away.
What do you say?
Get a real piano. Even if you think he's not going to play it he's only going to do it for 6 months and then give up, start skateboarding, or whatever it is.
We did. At my house, I think, I think my parents did. But that was because my dad's dad played and my dad's sister played.
Yeah.
So I started on the keyboard at school at 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was long until my mum's dad had a piano and they didn't use it, so they just moved it straight into our house.
I started playing guitar when I was 8. And
how? Where was it?
So my older brother had a steel string guitar. And I can remember it being around for about maybe 6 months. He'd been playing saxophone for a few years.
How did you end up on the saxophone?
He was at saxophone. He went to saxophone
because he saw it on the telly or something.
13. Nah, it's just like get divvied up in the school that you go.
Oh,
to. He's the firstborn of the family. Went to this school for the first time.
And they just say, right,
and they were sort of, I don't know. Back then, if they were renowned for their music sort of program, but they certainly became renowned for their music program at the school I went to. And they, I guess just have that first week. And then they're like, you got to have your submissions in by Friday, what instrument you want to play. And then your parents have to pay this amount to get it through this supplier or whatever. Of
course, yeah.
And so he played saxophone from the age of 13. And then I think pretty quickly went to the bass guitar, but had the steel string guitar around at the same time to write songs on or to fuck around with.
So your parents had just bought it?
Yeah, I was too young to even, I can't remember. I was still just...
And then you just pick it up
so
and
I started noodling around on it. And
did your brother show you something?
No, my dad did.
What did he know?
Interstellar Overdrive by Pink Floyd.
That's one of the weirdest songs. Could he play all right?
Huh?
Could your dad play it all right? You would have thought he was pretty cool that he could.
No.
You didn't know any better?
No,
or did you know he was no good?
Pretty quickly, could pretty quickly tell that he wasn't that great at it. But I think my older brother was pretty quickly matched what he could do. Okay. So, and I never saw my older dad. Yeah, that was kind of my big brother was kind of like my second dad. But yeah, I never saw Dad showing him shit. As in he'd just occasionally play stuff on my guitar. Actually, can remember him just noodling around a lot as well. That's probably what he was the best at. Was the noodle, because he'd have melody in him. So he was just fucking around on one string, jumping strings, but just fucking around.
Yeah.
And then he knew some of the basic chords and had those, I don't know, at the time, hands that I felt like shouldn't have been on the fretboard anyway. Just yeah. But then I got a half-size nylon string so that I could do the fingering properly.
Yeah, that's good for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Completely.
And I got I think, is it Gloria, Van Morrison?
G, D, and A, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that was
it's E, D, and A.
I think that was song number 2.
Right.
And then there was another one which was the same chords. This one might have been something like Cold Chisel or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like...
Oh, the same three. Oh, no, that's you too.
Is it? You too? Yeah, you too. Yeah.
So that's what
D-A-E.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Wow, I never tried to sing, just knew that that's how the chords went. And then I can remember.
Did that get you quite exhilarated, like as soon as you sort of learnt that?
No, it was a very observational kind of thing, because you'd play it and, you know, maybe practicing it a little bit by yourself, learning to deal with the frustration of not being able to do it quick enough, and then getting it so good that you kind of like check this out to your parents and your friends' parents and stuff. And then pretty soon you've got an audience. So it's like, it's no longer about you discovering a passion thing. It's about your ego being stroked, especially as the fourth boy, the youngest boy in a family. Like I feel like a lot of the uniqueness comes from being the youngest, because you've got.
I remember you've said this to me before. You have, like, the reason you say crazy shit.
It's because I've always had to find a niche attention. A niche part of attention. I feel like it's a cogent theory. I just don't.
Well, if you believe it, then it's probably true. You're the only one who knows. But when you told me that, it definitely made sense.
Yeah. I just latch on to things that I say that make sense. I think
that's existence.
It's life. Yeah.
Like we're talking about before.
Sound feels so
the
wise.
Psychology and all
that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it rules me in that way. I feel like it's been a very recent kind of, maybe that's why you're so insistent in getting into people's faces with weird shit.
But if it wasn't music, would it have been something else? There's just a desire for you to
there's
this
in front of an class audience. Clown vibe going on.
You love an audience.
Yeah. There was the one of the first big disappointments of my life was, for a completely unrelated but yet needing to be the center of attention reason, I got kicked out of class 5 minutes before they started doing the auditions for the very first musical of my life, which was when I would have been 11.
And so you didn't get to do it? Didn't get to do it?
No, I hit play on the fucking tape cassette in the corner of the stage at the end of the year for that thing.
Right.
My twin brother was the lead.
No shit. What musical was it?
Pied Piper.
The Pied Piper, okay.
Yeah.
Musical or play? Play.
They were singing, so it's musical. Huh. Yeah. But I'm not aware of it being an actual musical.
No, I don't.
But that makes sense with the length, though. It's like a kid's musical, so that you can get in and out in 60 minutes.
Yes.
After.
And then there was your childhood performance of All Shook Up that you've told me about.
So that was when I was before playing guitar.
Right.
That was from watching that film. I had a mate in primary school that was. I reckon he was into Michael Jackson, but he was definitely into his own image and dancing.
Okay.
And I think on one afternoon we were hanging out. This would have been when we were like 6 or 7 or something like that. And we watched the movie Look Who's Talking. And there's a scene where John Travolta sings All Shook Up.
I haven't seen that in such a long time. Since then.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is the baby, I think.
Yeah, he was.
So we kind of learnt that routine together. And it was sort of a routine, singing it. I was concentrating on singing a little bit more than dancing, and he was concentrating on dancing a little bit more than singing. And then I ended up getting my first smooch because of it. I sung it to a girl.
Do you think that locked something in your mind for the...
I felt like I knew that was what was going to happen already. So it was like this thing where I've just been led by my ego my entire life. Just a fucking blind, mute vessel. My ego to go find praise or something.
Yeah.
But
I think for me it has become more about, while being driven mad by songs and songwriting and being obsessed with music in that way, I also just love the freedom of being on stage where it's your place, when it's your band or whatever, you're allowed to be in charge. And it's one of the few places where I feel like I can completely just be and say and do and let it all out who I am.
Yeah. I feel like it's a blessing kind of thing, because
you couldn't explain it to someone what that gives you. They'd have to experience it for themselves.
Well, I guess they do in other ways, though, don't they? I'm sure the guys on the football field are feeling the same sort of thing. Although,
I guess any guy that's inside a girl's pussy, really, like in, getting the job done. That's just as big an audience as you need.
yeah, there's similarities, isn't there?
Yeah.
For sure. Would you have, if it wasn't music, you've talked about doing comedy stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It was the next performance that I did, because I missed out on that
The Pied Piper.
that Pied Piper, and so I fairly aggressively pursued the hard work side of my routine for this talent contest a year later that I won first and third place for.
You did two entries.
Two entries, yeah. The third place was...
Did you pretend you were your twin brother or something for the other one?
Nah. You were allowed to enter as many times as you wanted.
With different acts?
Different acts, yeah. So the one act was I played About a Girl. I was the rhythm guitar and sung that.
I remember you saying that.
The whole afternoon I was thinking that's going to win because we worked at that.
How many chords in that? 4 chords in that?
Probably.
5.
Yeah. I didn't play the lead. Just as a side note, the other
strictly rhythm.
The other guy,
like Sultans
in primary school, did it, and at that stage he was like maybe better than me. And then I went to.
He's not better than you now, though.
I went to a different high school than him, and then I can remember there being this what's he doing? Is he still playing? Kind of this concern that. I was better than him.
I had to be the best in my high school.
Yeah,
definitely. I fucking fought for it. And
I was definitely not the best in my high school.
Not by the end?
No way.
Oh.
Yeah, I was. There was one year group ahead of us with these two shred beasts that would have been at the top of a bill of some kind of fusion jazz kind of festival.
We've talked about this as well. You're your own favourite guitar player now.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't back then, though.
Yeah, no, I wasn't then either. No. Now I'm definitely... I mean, you're one of my favourites as well. But
thank you.
I mean, I have to maybe put me over you as being my own favourite.
Yeah, because you're in control of what your digits do.
Yeah.
So if you're into music and you're responsible, then I guess you have to be.
Do you think that everyone else has that? Because when you said it, and I've been thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I am my own favourite guitar player for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say I'm my own favourite musician. Maybe I am. Because you sort of maybe need to be. But
yeah, no, because I feel like that's more accessible than the technician side of things. Like, as in terms of that feeling, and I put it this way, you can have a big argument on paper for who's the best guitarist.
Yeah.
But there's too many cross arguments for what a musician is for it to be any one person's right.
Yeah.
All you'd know is there's certain names that'd be close.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you probably have a sort of list of 5 of your favourite musicians.
Yeah.
It's not going to ever be one. Because it's weird when it is one. When mine was Prince, when I probably liked Prince more than me.
Right.
I was obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And you sort of listen to all their music and you mimic them a little bit. And then eventually you grow out of that. And then you sort of, you should be your own favourite because then...
Didn't you ever want to be better than Prince, though?
I never thought about it like that.
Because what's allowed me to never have a...
I don't think I can... I know I can't be... I'm not going to be a better musician than Prince.
Yeah.
He's an incredible musician. I might like what I do better in some ways, but in terms of actually like, if you did a test of musicianship, he's going to kick my ass.
What are the terms?
Let's say like grade 8 piano, how good you are on the drums, how good you are on all the different instruments. He's like, he can play the drums pretty good.
I feel like that's actually still falling back into a technical side of things.
Yes, it is, definitely.
In which case, if we're going to stay on that side of things, then I don't think I'm anywhere near where I should be. Like, in terms of technique, I've seemed to have hit a wall with the piano playing, and that I got to that wall pretty quickly.
Right. But does that, if it bothered you and you wanted to be any better, you would push harder, or you won't now because you're?
I think that's happening on a case by case thing for a part in a song. It's like I can still hear the bit that I'm supposed to do. It's just I'll fuck it up every single time I get to it. And then keep going and keep going and then keep going, and then you get it, and then you do that thing where you go, I'm not playing this for a week, and see what happens when I go back to it. And all the simple bits are better.
Yes.
But the complex bits, way worse. So it's done this thing, and you're kind of like, nah, it's too stretched. That's not really representing itself that well. But yeah.
What drives you to continue to keep doing? Is it out of habit, out of necessity? It's like breathing, it's like water, you need it? What?
Nah, it's not. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's a rebellion thing. Sort of.
Does it still come back to the ego and the audience?
Nah. This is more, I guess, from a negative side of things. I guess the only thing you could peg this down to is like a fear of success, kind of thing. Are you familiar with that concept? Where you sabotage yourself.
You have mentioned this a little bit in the last year or so.
Yeah.
I feel like as we've done more with All the Colours, terrifying you a little more? Is that what you've said?
No, with All the Colours, maybe there's been moments where I've worried about one thing or another thing, and then verbalised it. But because it's like you're in a family kind of thing, it sort of feels a lot safer.
Yes.
But going to the place in my mind where I need to go to answer your question is sort of just coming from a position of being on my own. But if I think about being a guitarist in All the Colours, then is that what you mean by what makes you keep doing it? What makes you keep
making music in general? Like, where's this sort of inspiration come from? Because if you don't,
because I haven't actually finished a whole project myself yet, and that's something that I want to do. But you'd have to ask me after I'd done that full solo.
But these are questions that I've asked quite a few people. You know, is there a point where you could happily say, "Oh, I've done enough now"?
Yeah, that one solo album.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'm trying to drag that cunt out as long as I can. I'm trying to be as much like I remember reading and then hearing that JP guy talk about Roland S. Howard and that time between his first self-titled, his first name, Roland S. Howard artist type album, Teenage Snuff Film in 1999.
Okay.
And then there was a 10-year gap, 2009, Pop Crimes. Maybe 2008 or something like that.
When did he die?
That year, that same year.
2009?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Or a year later. It was like Christmas night he died or something, or New Year's night or something. Okay. Right at the end of the year. But he, just... And I always get this weird kind of, when listening to his music, going, really? But he had this sort of thing of, it took him 10 years. He wasn't doing anything else, apparently. He might have been doing these things and then getting sick and then doing heroin and they're not doing heroin, maybe, I don't know. But he had that 10 years of making a 7-track album with, I think it's 2 covers on it, or 1 cover. And he was just, the way he was talking about it, it's just like, I wasn't happy. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. And this is all I'm happy with, just these 7 songs. Or they finally got there and said, that's the album.
So you're writing a lot that you're unhappy with, or just not actually writing that much?
No. It's definitely a lower amount of
Output
in terms of songs. So it's there's new stuff coming out, and then it
what
gets
sparks
put,
the new stuff though?
That it's just being in that mood, that one mood.
So you have to
you
wait for the mood to take you.
No, you're at the piano every single time.
Okay.
And then you find yourself going in a particular direction that's not rehearsing what you were, or practicing the thing you were practicing.
So you keep turning up at the place.
Keep turning up at the place, and
every
once about 7 days, you're in that new mood. But because you've decided, based off a certain amount of work I'd done in my last working studio, I'd sort of locked down these 5 or 6 songs as the ones that I was going to keep working on.
Yeah.
And these new songs literally just stay in their raw state for me to either go, okay, this whole concentrate on the 5 or 6 songs thing isn't working. Just concentrate on one and get it from start to finish with the Pro Tools open. Or just open the fucking floodgates and do 15 songs that you like that are part of this piano exploration thing.
I guess also if there's not a label on your back or a huge fan base or someone making you have to finish this album, you can take as much time as you want.
And in those concepts of those things are alien to me.
Yeah,
when I think about that stuff. I guess I for some reason am always fighting against participating in things the way that other people participate in them.
Fighting it, why? Because you just want to fight it?
That question is right to the core. I can't give you a logical answer for it. It's like a thing of, it comes down to the same thing of being argumentative, of being contrary, of trying to be right where other people are wrong about something specific. Or that's me.
Yeah, it is you.
That's just me. Yeah.
You don't need a why for being an anarchist sometimes, do you? Like the Joker just wanted to be like that. Just cause.
I fucking love the Joker.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. The way where he burns all that cash, if we're referring to the Christopher Nolan Joker. That as an act, I would participate in that gladly. The burning of cash. It seems so. Anything that can remind me that you're only here once, and whatever it is that you enjoy, whatever it is that makes you feel like you want to keep going, just promote it.
And you're finding that every day, that's what keeps you alive? That's what keeps you going?
Yes. That and just that king of human delusions, hope.
You think you'll be the king?
No, the king of human delusions is hope.
Oh, I think you want to be the king, and that's your delusion.
No.
The king of humans. The king of
human delusions being hope.
Yeah,
like the one that's so delusional that it's positive.
Hope for what though? Just hope.
Oh, it's as a concept. So you'd always displace your if you're not rocking the now, then you find the next moment that you feel like the door's going to open for you to rock. And when I say rock in that sense, I mean just for you to be
Free, happy, do the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just to be in front of the wave rather than trying to catch up to the wave or whatever it is. You know those moments. It's the fluctuation.
Well, they always say, everybody always needs something to look forward to.
Yeah, well,
in life in general.
Yeah, the Proverbs, without a vision, the people perish.
Right.
That's a
Goes
big
all the
one
way-
for me.
all
Yeah,
the way
like
back.
that's a one that I definitely believe. That if you've got plans in place, they may not be 100% the plans that you were dreaming of, but plans in place is better than no plans in place. With an attitude of being as open as you can to what's going on around you, kind of thing. Because I'd get way more done if I just fucking left civilization and concentrated on it. And there's a lot of the time I want to...
Off the grid style.
Yeah, there's a lot of the time that I think about doing that. But you do those moments
No
where you
audience there, though.
See, I don't care about that thing for this. It's the audience relates to the ego part of me.
But you'd have to... if you weren't completely off the grid, you'd have to keep coming back for an ego boost every now and again, wouldn't you?
Don't know. Would I?
I don't know.
Or would I kill my ego and come back after 30 years and be a completely different person because the ego is no longer there? So all of those things that I say are part of my character are just completely washed away.
But so music, then you can kind of take it or leave it a little bit.
Yeah. I can definitely marginalize the performance side as being an ego stroke so I can leave it. And after getting this one thing done, I could leave what I would really call is the deep part, the part that we connect on as far as music and stuff goes, like where it's that unnameable thing that you want, not conquer, but you want to sort of sit in.
Yes.
Like whether it's 44 minutes that fits on a vinyl or if it's something ambitious like a double album that's a little bit diluted, but it's just everything I've got at the time anyway, so who cares kind of thing. Or whether it's I change tack and go, fuck, this is not working, release song by song each year on Spotify or something and try to connect with an audience or something. I've never pictured me trying to make my solo music connect to an audience. I'm literally just doing it for me.
Yeah, as it should be. And I guess you haven't thought, I guess we've sort of talked about that, you don't think about the marketing or how to get it out there side. It's more just, you just want to get
I
it.
do think about that, but not in a positive way. Not in a, this is a challenge up ahead of me to do this. Each little bit of work that I put in, I'll get back. So if the door can be open for me to get make a living off it or whatever.
It doesn't work like that for anyone though either. There's no sort of
I'm more
reward for effort.
Yeah, I'm more terrified about, it's stupid. But it's just wanting to keep this one. I'm happy to make, if you were to say to me, you need to make an album where you do make an effort to put it out, I'll be like, okay, then I need to do 2 albums. Because this one's not it. Because this one is the one that's for me, like just the way it's gone down with.
So do you think you're sort of delaying it in a way because if you do get it done, then what do you do with yourself?
Yeah, I'm picturing Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day, in a sense, just to drag it out. Absolutely. Because, like, yeah, there's moments where I want to fucking rush and get the ball moving so that I can, set another end date or something like that. Because we're constantly making end dates for certain projects and then never living up to them. But never putting pressure on yourself to go, oh, fucking fuck. We fucked it. It's never fucked. Because then you just keep working at it and then do it. Because it's never finished. Maybe that's what appeals to me about music. I'm so lazy. You can subsist in a project that never ends. Yeah.
I've got so many of those projects that I want to do.
Yeah.
There's, many.
I was thinking the other day about you and I. And I feel like there's something else for both of us to do together.
Sure. What do you got?
Nothing.
But not music.
No. I mean music.
Music, yeah. I don't think I could do
No,
anything
I
else.
did. No, I didn't. I definitely wasn't thinking like outside the box in that way. I meant more. It was a particular genre style thing. I can't remember. I think it was basically. I wrote the U2 Fragile. You wrote the Roy Orbison Fragile.
Yeah, with a little direction from John.
And then you've got this fucking like 30s Cuban vibe going
Yeah.
now. Like I don't know, like a Hawaiian ballad album.
Sounds great.
Like where there's just the same production ideas as what you've got on this Cuban jam. Mm-hmm. But songs like is it like a Ricky Nelson kind of?
Ricky Nelson?
Is it that?
What do you mean?
Kind of. Oh fuck! Is it Ricky
I know what you're talking about. I know the style.
Johnny O'Keefe?
Yeah, I know the style.
That era.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do that.
I can't remember what it was. It was something that I was convincing myself of. I was listening to something in the car, and I was just like, "We got
Well,
all of the."
I know I'm
going
going to do more of that, and I guess we should just do a couple together.
just because, in the sense of not doing that cold songwriting thing, but yeah, just going off technique and stuff, and not sitting in this thing that's so important to me or anything like that. I feel like I can do. I'm actually into that style.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah. What was the? It's that song off Hot Shots. Only You.
The Platters.
The Platters.
Yeah, the Platters. Yeah. The other one they do is Dream Lover.
Yeah.
Love that. That's one of my
So,
faves.
if there's a way we can find a dusty version of that,
Yeah.
it sounds way more under a coconut tree.
Bit more.
Wicked game. Wicked game, basically.
Well, if you've got any chords, let's cook it up.
Just 1-4-5. We'll start with that.
Yeah, you just go classic, with
Yeah.
with that stuff. I think that'll do us.
Sweet. I just wanted to say hi to Mum and.
There we go, ladies and gents. The one and only Josh Mann. I love that guy. It's been a lot of fun being in a band together. He's completely unique, a total character of his own, and there's something special about a person like that. Check out All the Colours songs, Fragile and Faces. There are others that he's singing on the records, obviously, but I don't want to go on about telling you to listen to All the Colours too much, Just go and get involved yourself, eh? Just start with those two. That'll be enough. I think that'll do us for today's episode. Thanks so much for coming back, and we'll see you in a few weeks for more Getting to the Bottom of It. See you later. Thank you.